backed hackers, right? Terrorist organization to name one. You have country-based hackers. So hackers probably get more funding, probably better technology and better infrastructure to go into anything than everything we do. There are government, without naming any country, and all of us know, which builds a city or a floor full of hackers and say go and attack that government site, right? How do one predict? I guess Anuprita and Bharat was mentioning, how do you know the unknown, right? Look at September 11, right? Probably I'm digressing from your point and we'll come back to that. Look at September 11. After that, nobody ever thought somebody's going to put a flight as a bomb and get a city down, right? And look at the way America filled it up, right? After that, they made sure not a single attack, and the way people travel across the world and the way airline operator changed, right? I guess coming to the point that we were discussing earlier, it's there is nothing called known unknown. It can come in any form. Nobody ever thought a passenger aircraft is going to go right into your office building and then does building cracks down, right? So the idea is that to learn from each other, right? Pass on the information, like you mentioned about a case study in Bangladesh, right? Which is the most secured form we thought would have gone $1 billion bust, right? And me and Namita represents a company which has put billions of dollars of investment into a project where we are looking at probably uh, 200 million, 300 million customer to be transacting for their everyday use. So in that, uh, in my endeavor, what I would look at is that how do I bring in the learnings collaboratively? Work at various partners. Could be a bank, it could be a company like Checkpoint, it could be learnings from different countries, different banks. How do to an extent you can protect, but how can you detect quickly before it goes really bad? Right? Probably it cannot be a $1 billion fraud. It could be a $1 million fraud. You are able to protect it. And how much of investment that you can bring in and what kind of partners. So those things and all will come in very smooth. And mobile payments is definitely for sure going to take a big angle. I'll, before I sign off, I'll mention one more thing. I was in London, invited for an international cards and payments conference organized by Leffert in October. There was a gentleman from a equity bank from Kenya who was actually telling us that in their country mobile payments is very advanced. Their problem is not the smartphone availability or people not adapting to mobile payment. Their problem is the electricity by itself, right? So every week, so they don't use smartphones. They use those half-brick phones that we are used to 20 years back. And every Saturday, Sunday, they go to the city center just to charge their phone. And the shop owner charges you for charging that phone. Yeah, and then he was showing a diagram how an intraday loan is given to those mobile customer by banks, which is Equity Bank in this case. He was showing a chart where at 4:30, 5:30, all those small micro SMEs apply for the loan to the bank. By 6:37, the bank pays after doing credit due diligence, gives the intraday loan to that customer on the phone, and by 10 they go and procure those goods, they do the trading the entire day, and by evening they pay back, right? So look at, and he was showing an amazing cycle where everything applying for a loan, payment bank paying the loan to the customer, and the customer paying back to the bank the loan amount with interest, whatever it is applicable, all happens from phone to phone, not a smartphone, but on a USSD technology, right? And tomorrow, if that's going to be happening in a country like India, where the population is huge, is dynamic, and multiple business that I see an asset management company, investment company, a bank, and a mobile payment company, right? How is that we going to address that, right? Sure. And there's going to be more people coming in and say, let me crack this. Because one crack into this business, it's $100 million equity in a fraud, right? And there could be countries or institution, a terrorist organization, we are prone to that, right? Want to attack that. So how do we protect ourselves? I guess those things are the very, very key items as we speak. Because right now, everybody is going app only. It's become an extension of a human body for ourselves. We spend more time with this instrument than with our own spouse and kids, right? So when everything happens there, right? Slowly it's in the urban culture and then it'll spread out. How you gonna guarantee the customer, you know what, I provide everything to you, no need to worry. I guess those are the things will be that confidence building measure, if I can say. So thank you. I just
Thank you.
want to share a few interesting facts before I go.
So I want to now go to Raghunatha, and I want to just change the topic a bit, and Ajit touched upon the ransomware. So, what is it that you are observing, not just in your company, but as an within the industry? Is ransomware an issue that you are worried about? And what are some of the solutions that you're looking to address that problem?
Yeah, just before the start of that, we were discussing about that.
Oh,
So, yeah, it's a real threat, and I did get to know about certain these kind of things happening off late in some of the organizations, and uh, I could see in on some of our WhatsApp groups that sharing. So this is what happened, and what do we do, and things like that. Okay, so I presume that there is once you are attacked, then there is no other way except either you restore from the backup or format it and lose the data,
or you pay.
or you pay. Okay, so I could see all the three scenarios that happened wherein somebody went and paid, and I think it was reported in the press also. Um, as latest as today morning and yesterday, I could see the very enticing mails that come, which makes even known people also clicking those attachments and then getting prey to that. So I see so unsuspecting users, employees, the education is very very key, and keep reminding them about this. Okay, it's probably saying that it's not only in your official work you should do it, but on your personal side also you need to do, and not only educate yourself and your uh, children, fellow colleagues, you need to do that. So that's one. Second is looking at a holistic strategy, okay, and preventing such kind of things happening, like say early detection, protection, and then probably the last one, the post infection. How do you? So you need to invest in technologies, need to have right resources to even once so to deploy these technologies, because what we find is though you may have sophisticated technologies, but the way it is implemented, the way it is configured may not be the right way. Okay, so you find a lot of implementers, because you call an organization, you will say, yes, I can do that, but finally the way they implement it may not be what you want. Okay, there's clear gap of the skill set that is available with the implementers.
Sure.
Okay, so these are some of the
Thanks.
issues
Manan,
with that.
are you also worried about ransomware?
Yes, I quite resonate to what my fellow colleague Mr. Raghunatha mentioned. The basic challenge that today we face is it's more to do with justifying spends on newer risks. Now, suddenly, out of somewhere, ransomware is just pacing up, and there are other newer threats which are emerging. You've been making investments all across, your security areas, right? Starting from the basic, which is firewall, and then moving on to the IPS and so on and so forth. Every time you go to the people who matter, in terms of your budgets and in terms of your costs, you find it difficult to explain to them in their language as to how is this investment going to be different from what you've done so far. That seems to be one of the key challenges, and how will it give you a future proof answer to the problem, because technically it's just still the new thing comes up, and the new answer comes up, and then you go back to the same room having a different explanation. So ransomware is one such challenge that that we foresee, and this can again can happen with anybody at any time. It is individual or corporate, and it can do anything. It can just capture your whole file server, which is perhaps your central nervous system, and just leave you in a coma stage, so to
Sure.
say, where either you have a choice of recovering from what you've done in the past, and depending on the sensitivity of the data, will you want to take the steps on what you want to do.
Sure.
So that's precisely my view.
Thank you. Thank you. So another theme I think Ajit you talked about is collaboration.
Absolutely.
And maybe what I'll suggest is, Ajit, you set the context of what you mean, But in my mind, collaboration can be twofold. One is the technology aspect of different components collaborating and working to give you effective security.
Sure.
And other is people collaboration, which is what you're
Sure,
doing today,
sure.
and sharing and exchanging ideas. So maybe after Kundu, you can give some ideas from your side, and maybe after that, Maya, you can talk about technical aspects and what you're seeing, how one could do that. Yeah.
See, to be very frank, as Vishal rightly said, collaboration is not just about technology, it's about people, it's about sharing, etc. Now what has happened is, if you really look at the intelligent landscape which I talked about, cybersecurity intelligence, there's so many